So we started about dependency injection, right? Dependency injection, and we understand that from the yesterday session, right? How to inject data into our class, how to inject data into our class from XML file using property tag or constructor tag. What is the advantage that we realized? If I can able to pass data from XML file, I will be having flexibility to pass data anytime. I can edit and do the changes without disturbing my code. And in simple words, if I disturb the XML file and if I change some configurations without touching tags, okay, it's okay. But if I go to class, if I do any change, again recompilation is required. So if you are doing recompilation means redeployments, everything is required. If you do changes in a configuration files, recompilations, redeployments may not required. You may do restart. Let's say directly go into the server, you can do quick configuration changes and you can restart your servers. That much is sufficient. Restarting server may be easy job than doing redeployment. Okay, maybe for all applications it may not suitable. May not suitable means direct changes on the production environment they don't allow. You need to do changes in your local environment. You need to test it. You need to send it to testing. Again, testers also need to do complete regression testing. Once they say okay, everything is fine with new configurations and new database, it should go to user acceptance. Business also will test. If they're also, if they say okay, perfect, new database also working fine, then they will move to production. In production also they will do quick production checkouts. If production also is well, then they will say deployment is success. Otherwise they will ask you to again do the proper deployments. Okay, anyway, so the small benefit that we realized is we can do changes from XML file. And what kind of data I can able to pass to my poser class? What kind of data means any data. It can starting with the simple numbers to complex data types up to collections you can able to pass. And we are trying to see it via setter and constructor. In advanced level, we will see everything via annotations only. Okay. For time being, we'll go with setters and constructors. Okay. So how tags need to be how tags need to be added based on the data type that we will see. Let's say I have a class here. I have a class here. Student. You can call it as controller, right? You can name it anything. Student controller, student service or repository, whatever it is. Now to the student controller class, I wanted to inject some data here. It will be confusing if I name it controller. Let me not put it. I have a simple poser class student only. Now into the student class, I want to pass simple name and I want to pass enter some roll number int or long. Roll number or int long id, and I wanted to pass here boolean is active, is an active student, or he discontinued it. One boolean variable I wanted to inject, and I want to inject array data type here, string array of what all subjects he have, and I want to inject a separate course object or separate address object, and I want to inject one list type here, list of strings, and similar way I want to inject one set type, and I want to inject one map type. Okay, simple string to up to map dependency injection I wanted to do. So let's see for each, right, which kind of tag I need to use in XML file and how it works. Fine. Fine. For strings, while using property tag or constructor tag, you will be using property value. We will be using property tag here. Is somebody taking annotations? Property, and for string, we will enter its name properly here. What is that name? And we will be giving value, student name and his value. If it is a simple string type, if it is a number type, let's say id, if you want to pass, again we will use value only. We will be passing number here. We will be passing number here. And if it is a boolean, is active. Yes, you can pass boolean true or false also here, but case sensitive. Whatever Java accepts, right? Small true or false, you can pass. Now coming to array, you have array, right? Subjects, array of subjects I have. How you will inject them here? It is not a single value. Array of subjects I need to pass here. Array of subjects I should pass here. How I can pass means between property and property tag, right? For array we need to use list tag. For array we need to use list tag. When you want to pass array values, you need to use list tag. Between list and list you can pass. Now array of values, value 1, value 2, value 3, using value tag. So how many you can have? Any number. Into array, right? You can pass any number of values. One or more than one. So subjects. C, C++, Java, something like this. And a similar way for complex object. I mean address is a different object that I need to pass. So in such case what we will do, first we will create address object itself first. Be id. Address class also should be there, right? As it is a separate class. We will be creating address class object separately. And that address object also you can inject property name is equal to address. And how you will pass that address object here? For strings we used value attribute. Now address is a not a string. If you see here, address is an object. So for object, instead of using value, we'll use a reference attribute, and we will give this reference here. This address class reference ID we have, right? That we will pass here. That is how we will use reference to pass secondary type objects. And this is how we will pass array of values. And for the remaining boolean integer strings, you can use simple only. Simple attribute value for these simple primitives. Value only enough. But for array, we will be using list. For secondary type, which means your custom object, we'll be using reference attribute here. And the same thing we will apply for list to set to map also. Okay, we'll be seeing them through example directly. Okay. Okay, I'll be writing two more classes here. Okay, it's good to write here only. Let me write one student class and one address class also. In address, I'll put variables like string address, city. Address means again lot of information we need to fill, right? Address, city, state, street, pin code, maybe house number. So combination of all this information is address. Generate setters and getters. Setters are sufficient to inject data. Getters are for to read data from outside the class. This address data I wanted to read in students. That's why getter also I generated for each property. Setter is to accept data from XML. Getter is to read. Somebody wants to read. XML given input. But who wants to read? How they can read using getter? They can read. That's why given getter here. Now coming to student, I have private string student name. My screen visible, right? If any lag, you can stop me there itself. Okay. Int ID. Am I audible? Private string array of subjects. Private address, a complex object. Private list of so what do you want to pass? List of fruits. Don't ask me logic why fruits for student. Okay, just for our understanding sake. So set of cricketers. Private map of states and capitals, or country and capitals, take anything. Okay, now to accept all this data, right, from XML, you need to have either setter method or constructor. I'll go with setter method. I'll go with just setter method. Only setters are sufficient. Select setters. Generate. So all setter methods are generated. All setter methods are generated to set name, ID, everything. Finally, if you want to print and see this, let's generate one toString method just to see data which you injected. When you print your student object, right, you can able to see what data you injected. Everything it will print. Cool. Now inject this data into the student class. Student address.xml. Now student need address object, right? Student needs address object. So student is having the dependency of address. So address should be created first. So this is the dependency that student is having. Bean pass address. It is there in the DAO package, right? DAO. Okay, address. Now address is having multiple dependencies. City, state, street, pin code and house number. So let's pass all that properties here. Property, city, Hyderabad, state, street, pin code and house. TS something I like 89. Okay. So now address object is created. Let's put one ID because I wanted to pass it as a reference. Now create the student. So if you want to give ID, give a unique ID. The same ID should not repeat anywhere else. Do.student. Now inject all the student properties. We understand all these primitives, right? Simple strings via setter method. Again here also we have property, name, value. I'm using value because it is simple string. So you know XML directly end tag you can have or self closing tag also you can have. So I'm using self closing. So one is name and the next property is ID and is active. Is active is a boolean variable and subjects are array type. So in this case you should not use self closing. Put a end property tag and between you can pass list means array of strings. Here you can pass values. C, C++. Okay na? So subjects array. Now address is a secondary type. Address is a secondary type. Address. Now here as address is a secondary type, you know this one you can pass. Here I have address object, right? That A I can pass here, but not with value. Instead of value, you use reference A. Now it will understand, okay, this is a different object that I need to find it out in XML file. So it will find it out here and it will inject this complete object. So address also injected. Now list of fruits. list of fruits. You can use here list tag. Again, same like your array only. And pass list of values here. Fruits, apple, banana, mango, guava, anything. Pass any number of values you want. Now next, set of cricketers. List we passed using list tag. Same way, set might can have which tag? Set can have set tag. Like list is having list tag, right? Set is having set tag. Between set and set you can pass values. You know the difference between list and set, right? List will accept a duplicate. Into this fruits list, you can pass apple again, it will accept. Whereas set will not accept a duplicate. Add any number here, right? Okay, you should not duplicate it. Duplicate will not be accepted. Only 4 will be considered. The next one will not. That's it. Now we have map. So for map we need to pass key value. You know, right? Map needs one key and one value. My screen visible, right? Map. Yeah. So for map, you know, right? Key values here we should put. So in between map and map tag, we have a entry tag. Okay. In this entry tag, you can see key and value. Okay, you can pass key value here. States and capitals. TS. Either. Bang. TN. Chennai. These all are the keys and these are the values. Mumbai. Something. KK. Yeah. So states and capitals. This is how you can pass keys and values. Okay. So if you see now, for simple strings we used value to pass the value. String also we given value. For number also we given value. For boolean also we given value. Internal type conversion it will do based on your data type. If it is ID, it will automatically convert into number. If it is a boolean, it will convert into boolean. Now coming to this list, subjects is a string array type. Subjects is a string array type. This is string array. So when you use list to write, internally it will use array list. Array list to simple string array conversion, Spring will take. Basically, by using list tag, when you code something, it will create array list. Write array list object. So array list to string array conversion, it will take care. Oh, your container will take care. And now the next thing is object. So for passing object, you should not use value. So we use a reference, and this reference ID is belongs to this address class. So whatever object created for address with city, state, street, pin code, house number, right? The same object will be passed here. Coming to fruits, it's a list type. List is an interface. It can accept any list, right? Either array list, linked list. So you know this list tag is creating which object? Array list object. So your array list object comfortably will be injected into your list tag. Apple, mango, banana. Again, apple also will be added. Now for cricketers, we have set dependency. So when you use set, it will internally create linked hash set, LHS. Linked hash set object will be created. So this linked hash set object will be add Sachin Dhoni, Kohli, Rohit, and one more Rohit will be avoided because duplicates not allowed. So this linked hash set object will be injected into this set. And for map, states and capitals, right? It will be creating linked hash map. Linked hash map object it will create, and it will pass that linked hash map object here into this map. So now finally see how it works. Will it work or not? Load it into your container. Student client. So load your XML here. Student hyphen address dot XML. Maybe dot get bean, get student object, and just to print the student object. Sysout of yes. When you do sysout dot object, it will call internally toString method. So toString method will print all your data whichever you passed from XML file. No, we are going back. Yeah, run it. Hopefully it should work, but he is active is invalid parameter. What happened? For boolean is active. So there is a setter method is active is a variable. Acha. Set is act. Yeah, maybe simple active is sufficient as a variable, but yeah, we have taken is active. Run again. Nothing. Data came here. Let me put that here and see. So student name passed, ID passed, is active true passed, subjects CCPP Java also came fine. Address object okay. Address object it is printing fine. In address also if you have toString method maybe it will print address data also. Okay, not a big deal. And fruits passed apple, banana, mango, again apple. So duplicate allowing because it is a list type. Sachin, Dhoni, Kohli, Rohit. Another Rohit deleted because it is set type. And states and capitals passed here. TS, KA, TN, MH, West Bengal. All the states and capitals data also came from. So now you are capable to pass any data. You are capable to pass any data from your XML file to class, isn't it? You guys can pass anything right from now for your class from XML file. Even if you have a collection dependencies, array dependencies, you need not to hard code. You pass anything from XML file, it will accept. So we have that flexibility here. Any doubt so far? Are we clear? Am I audible? Yes. Hmm. XML file, right? Correct. This ID reference we are passing here. All the way from here to here, that ID we are passing. Reference of address. So that but this is, yes, mostly this is very minimal task, but this is the major thing. Line number 25. For objects we use always a reference and we pass it. But in latest coding techniques, we even not doing it. Automatically it will happen. Anyway, that we'll see in next sessions, okay? But through XML file, if you see something using reference means this reference should be there somewhere else. Somewhere else, another class objects reference it is. So this reference we are passing here. This is how secondary type objects we can pass. Any questions here? So I'm expecting more questions. There is a scope to ask questions here. Even I given clue. If you don't ask, I'll skip this. So if you clearly see, to pass fruits, for set, for map, here I have data type what? Simple interface. List is an interface, right? Set is an interface. Map is an interface. Into that interfaces, I'm injecting what? Defaults. Defaults are what? For list, array list. For set, linked hash set. For map, linked hash map. Now I have a question here. Can you guys able to find it? What is the question? No, array list itself is a class. Array list class object. Array list. No, no. Into interfaces, Java accept objects. Okay, this is interface only. This is interface only. Interface can hold its implementation object. Interface can always hold implementation object. So that's where it is possible. Okay, this is also a good question. But if you well aware of oops, right? Always your interface can hold implementation object. Okay, superclass can hold subclass object, child class object. Okay, so as interface is a superclass, it can hold child class. That is fine. Okay, that is fine, and that is itself providing a great feature. That is what runtime polymorphism I want to discuss. That is a separate topic we will discuss. Okay, apart from that, I'm expecting a question. So these are the defaults interfaces we have. So I could able to pass this default array list or linked hash it or linked hash map. Instead, having this default list interface here. Now question is to everyone, if I have a linked list here, if I have a linked list here, if I have a linked list here, can you guys able to pass array list object into linked list in general? Are we are, why? So these two are siblings, not parent childs. So in Java, this is possible. What is that? In Java, if you have a parent A, and if this parent A is having one B child and one C child, this is parent and these two are the child classes. In Java, this is possible. C object you can create and you can put it into C reference. This is one possible way C object you can create. And you can do one more thing. A equal to new C also you can do, isn't it? Into parent class reference we can put child class object. This is also possible. And can we do this B equal to new C? No, because it is not possible. B is not parent for C. So as B is not parent for C, it is not possible. Maybe they both derived from A class only, but which not means that it can able to pass into B. Not possible. Okay. Now talking with this example, here I am using array list, and array list object I am trying to passing into list object is fine because list is a parent. In collections, list is a parent, and for this list we have linked list child and array list child also. Both are siblings, not parent childs. So array list you can pass into array list object and as well as list object also. If you compare with this example, you can pass array list into array list. Array list L equal to new array list is possible. And list L equal to new array list also possible. But the linked list L equal to new array list is not possible. So this works, this also works, this will not work because linked list is not a parent for array list. So when you have such different data types here, how to pass collections we will see in a next example. Okay, we'll see in a next example. Yeah, quickly I will cover it, or shall we do it tomorrow, or let me cover it. Required collections. Okay, we have an example. Required collections. See, up to here all the examples covered, apart from multiple XML you can download and practice it. Okay, this is not a big deal. Up to here we covered already in a single example. Now required collections we will see. Download, open it, extract all. Okay, extracted, open, and I will import this project. You know, for your confidence purpose only I am giving all these concepts. You may not see them in real implementation because nowadays everything is a different using annotations. But while you are talking, right? In interviews, confidently you can say this as well. Interviewer may not aware, but you will be aware. Okay, so that they can see your confidence. Now here I have a test class with a linked list object. Linked list object is not a child for array list. So we'll see in XML file how linked list object is passing. Same with set also. Set is having so many implementations. Hash set and hash set child is linked hash set. So you can pass linked hash set object into hash set or set. It is okay because for linked hash set is the parent and set is a grandparent. So you can pass into any parent or its grandparents. It is okay. But set is having a different implementation like tree set. You can't pass linked hash set into tree set. Linked hash set is the default one, right? You can't pass it into tree set. Let me highlight it. So this is the default, right? When you use set tag. This is the default when you use list tag. So now if your class is having tree set dependency, how to pass? Okay. I have linked list dependency, tree set dependency, and I have hash table dependency. One more is hash table. For map, right? For map, it is having so many implementations. Hash table, okay, hash map, map implementations. So below this hash map, we have linked hash map. Linked hash map is the default one. So linked hash map, you can pass it into this linked hash map is the default one. You can pass it into hash map or map, not into hash table because hash table is not a parent or a grandparent. So I have hash table dependency and I have properties dependency. You know, properties is similar to map. So this is a different thing, okay, that you will see how to pass properties. Properties will have key value that also we can pass. Now for all this we have setter methods and finally via print data method I'm iterating them and printing. This is fine or else you can have toString method also. And now here is my XML file. So I'm passing here fruits. What is that? Fruits is linked list type. To pass linked list type here, I'm using a different tag. If you see here, the tag name is util colon list. What I used before? Simple, simple list tag I used. If you see here, I was used for passing fruits, right? Simple list tag I used. Now if you see, this is not a simple list. I'm using util list. Where from this util? From where it came? Earlier I used simple DTD, okay, simple DTD from your Spring library. Now instead of using simple DTD, I'm using schema. Okay, if you're aware of XML, you can easily relate to it. What is schema, what is DTD, but this is not much important. So the schema I added here, util schema. So this is the util schema namespace reference. So now using that special tags, right? Special tags I imported here. Earlier default tags only I used. Now special tags I imported. Special tags I imported here. Now using this special util tag, I'm achieving it. Now using that special util tag, util colon list, and specifying my required list type. I'm saying no, I don't want array list. I need what? Linked list. So now instead of creating array list object, Spring IOC will do what? It will create a linked list object. It will not, create any default, because you are specifying it. You are saying to IOC, don't create any default. Create a my required linked list object. Okay, it will create linked list, pass apple and mango. Same thing for set also. What we are specifying through util colon set, we are giving set hyphen class. We are giving tree set. So what it will do, instead of creating a default linked hash set, it will create now tree set. So the tree set you can able to inject here into tree set object. Okay, comfortably it will inject. Now coming to map, you need a hash table. So again here I am using util colon map, giving map hyphen class, the map class type here. I am giving hash table. So now it will create hash table object and it will add all the countries and capitals. India, Pakistan, Lanka, all the countries and its capitals. It will add. Okay. Now finally I have one more property called properties. So how you can pass properties? Here I have states and capitals is a properties type. And you can keep these properties in a separate properties file. You know, right? How to create properties, dot properties file. Here I am putting states, capitals with key value field. And this properties file directly you can inject into properties. Properties file itself you can inject by using this util tag. Util colon properties, you can give location of your properties file. So it will read from that properties from this properties file and it will be injected into states and capitals. Finally here. That's it. Now run your class, client class, and see whether it is doing all that stuff or not. Yes. Fruits, my custom type injected. Set, my required custom type injected. Countries and capitals injected. States and capitals injected. Yes. If you try to change it intentionally, no, I will see why it will not work. Instead of this simple list tag only, I will put and I will try. Yes, you can try. You will realize. Fruits, okay. I will pass by using simple list only. See what it will say to me. I commented this util list type and passing simple list only. Run your example and realize whether it will work or not. Hmm. What it is saying, clearly it is mentioning what is happening with the property. Failed to convert property value of type array list. Who asked to create array list? It created. By default, it created array list when you use simple list object. Okay, when you use simple list object, array list object, it is created and it is struggling to pass that value into linked list. Fruits type. So it is unable to convert. So that's where this util tag came to help us. That's where this util tag came here to help us. When you go with this util tag, it will not do anything. It will not give any exception because you are specifying it. You are specifying it. Please create linked list only. So it will create linked list only and it will pass. Okay. Don't strain too much on these concepts. Okay. These are, these topics will help you to boost your confidence in, interviews. If they ask a question about a dependency injection, talk at least about 15 minutes. Say dependency injection will help you to pass data from properties file or XML file so that it will enable you to do the changes at runtime. And we can pass any type of data starting from primitives to complex objects and collections. And you question them, do you know how to pass complex collections or custom collections? If you don't know, listen how it will happen. We have again util tags. We can use that util tags to pass our custom data, I mean custom collection objects, required collection objects. So like that, if you, end to end, if you talk about it, You'll be get, they will be getting a lot of confidence on you. Okay. Yeah. So that's all for the dependency injection. This is how we can pass anything to our class from XML file. Okay, we can pass anything from XML file to our class. Simple string to complex collections. What not? Anything, right? Now you got the capabilities, right? Yes, yes. Hmm. Annotation only. Okay, that is the advanced level. Annotations only. Nowadays, we are not spending this much time to write setters, getters, all this stuff. Annotations for sure, for 100% annotations only. Okay, because they are simple. We don't put even this much logic. We just put a simple auto word. That's it. Spring container should take care of everything to minimize our development efforts. Okay, they given so many annotations. They will make our job simple. Developer tasks are simple when you go with annotations. But when you get that realization, if I say annotation simple, this is how they will work. When you see how programmatically now it is happening, then you will realize it. Okay. Now when I go to annotations, you will say, oh, these are simple because now we struggled a lot to pass data from XML and all. Okay. Yeah. We will be seeing annotations in the next session. Okay. So far what we covered is all the dependency injection. We'll be covering auto wiring from tomorrow. Very, 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 very important concept. Okay. Don't miss these sessions. After the sessions, you can take a break if you want, but at least for auto wiring, right? Very, very important. On daily life, we will use auto wiring, even in Spring Boot or Spring Framework. Yeah. Hmm. Dynamic means where from where you are. Uh, I know this question you people will ask. That's why beginning of the dependency injection session I said, right, dependency injection for developers. Correct? Do you remember? I used this statement. Do you guys? Do you guys remember? Right? So for developer convenience, all this given. Why a UI person supposed to come to this XML and pass the data? They will pass data via views. See, we are building a car. We are not driving car. You are a developer. You are building a car. For whom? To drive the customers. Customers will not go to engine and they will see all the parts of engine. They will just drive. Will you allow him if you want to inspect how the engine is, how internal engine is designed? We don't allow them, right? Similar way, we don't interfere customer data into development. Getting what I'm saying? This all development data. This is all development data. That's why the first example I given, DAO example. So who will pass this data to connect with database? I need driver URL, username, password. Will you ask this data from front end user? No, right? So during development, we will put that data. So all the development data only we pass via dependency injection. Here, why I given this example is for our convenience purpose, but we are not going to get any data from front end. Okay, dependency injection concept for developers only. Okay, read this statement for 10 times. Dependency concept is for developers only, developers only, developers only. Okay, we never, 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 never accept any data from front end. No, even I used to confuse it. I used to think, I used to go into imaginations. Why can't front user come to data and pass? But why? For that, not that purpose given. Okay. Yeah. 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 hard coding of, now tell me, I have do class. My do class is having driver url username password dependencies. If I give flexibility to you, will you hard code that driver's information here, or will you try to pass the data from xml file? You have two ways. One one you can hard code here, directly you can put here. Okay, one is this way, and one is xml. So if somebody give that flexibility, why you are hard coding here? In future, decisions might change. We used some, last applications earlier, we used graph database. When we think that graph is not working, again we changed the database to normal database. If I was hard coded in that application, if I was hard coded, what I need to do again, I need to go to the class and I need to do all the configuration changes here, isn't it? I need to edit the class. I need to edit the class. I need to do the configuration changes and I need to compile it. Whenever you edit class, recompilation is required, right? Now, if you do recompilation, now CI/CD, you must aware, right? So if I do recompilation of the class in my local, it need to pass so many stages. Though if it is a small change also, one production ticket they need to create. I need to develop it. I need to test it. I need to send to testing, and testers need to test it. Then they need to pass all their test cases. And again, it will go to user acceptance. Then it will go to production. For production, will take green zone. It will take a lot of time to do this entire cycle. Maybe, of course, you need to do all this stuff, but without interfering your class, you simply go to xml file and modify it. You have flexibility here. Hard coding is something like, preparing a car with, preparing a car. I'm building a car here and fixing wheels permanently by doing welding without nuts and bolts. Okay, maybe this is a truck. So this truck is having wheels. I did welding directly without nuts and bolts. So what is the problem with this? This is like hard coded approach. If I weld this tires directly to this truck, hard coded approach, what is the problem? In future, one wheel is damages, you can't remove that wheel and fix new wheel, correct? Why car people are, in vehicle, in automobile industry, they given flexibility to you to remove tire and add new tire, because tires may get punctured, you may need to remove it. When it gets damaged and you need to add new wheel, stepney tire. So that is the flexibility they given for car. For car itself, that much flexibility they given, why can't you give flexibility to your application? Getting right? Yeah. So if I can able to pass something dynamically via dynamical again, don't imagine from user point of view. So something I can able to pass from XML file or some properties files, we will be giving flexibility to the end user or client. We can say to the client in future, if you want to change database username passwords, don't bother. You need not to create any productions here. You need not to give, spend 1 week developer efforts, and you need not to pay 1 week billing. Maybe for 1 week, him if he is spending 10 lakhs rupees, he need not to spend. You can say, hey client, please go and change this password whichever you want, and just restart your machines. Your application will work as it is. Okay, that's how we are giving flexibility to the client also, right? From string point of view, you are thinking going forward, runtime polymorphism we'll discuss. Okay, there you'll see more realization of MVC, flexibility of, how tires we will remove and fix the new tires, right? Similar way we will remove old classes and we will fix the new classes also. Application also needs the same kind of flexibility. Yeah, otherwise tomorrow I'll be talking about this runtime polymorphism. Yeah, go ahead. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yes. I mean, if you want to pass or load this data into Spring, and if you want to read, yes, expression support they given. We can do from Spring only. They have all that advantages in Spring Boot. Properties file. Hmm. Yeah, maybe see somewhere we need to code them. Okay, first thing, either XML file or properties file. Let's say if the same data there in some properties file, first you need to load that properties into container. Okay, so for each variable there will be one key, something like this. Okay, something like this. There will be a key. What we will do by putting expression language here, right? Dollar. We will give that key here, so that this key it will try to identify from your properties. So in that properties it will identify that key value it will brought here. Okay, if it is system variables concept, that is different. We will discuss it. Okay. Yeah. Yes, in Spring Boot we will see. Yes, in Spring Boot completely all the configurations with multiple properties, single property, multiple yml, single yml. Okay, all that differences, everything will say end to end. In Spring Boot we do that. From tomorrow, advanced sessions, right? That are generally we are using in real time. So why I started with this XML concept means this is the basic concept, like this initially framework design. Okay. Yeah. So from tomorrow we'll be seeing all the annotations, all the real time concepts only. Okay. Any more questions? Yeah. So from out of these concepts, right, dependency injection and all, I'll be creating one quiz. Okay. So I'll be sharing it with you. Okay. Um, First 5 minutes we'll do that, and we'll continue with the next session. Okay. And yesterday video, today video will be available soon. Okay. Maybe expected by this noon. Okay. So just go through that video and examples before the session. I'll be giving this to you.